Hello and welcome back to Aston Martin and F1 Manager 2022. There's a lot to do before the British Grand Prix here, which is effectively Aston Martin's home race. Technically Aston Martin are owned by a German company at the moment, but they are British brands, so we treat it as our home race. The factory, all that kind of shenanigans building-wise for the actual F1 team is based in Britain, so we'll claim it as the home race. And Lance Stroll's face might be there, but we did intend to leave him in Canada, effectively, so now is the moment. And we'll start with Pierre, and work our way down if we do not succeed with Pierre. And I will just simply offer him the same contract he's already on, just with more years. Car 2 as well, let's not forget that. We'll offer him his current contract and see what you know what we'll do. Just to maybe incentivize things, we'll just round off these, because I suspect he's going to want more of something. So we'll round off his target bonuses. Because quite frankly, that's annoying to actually deal with. Okay, 3 seasons isn't enough. Oh god. If he actually does want longer, that's not a problem. I wonder if you like improve the starting bonus to a degree where it actually matters. 12th would be an achievement right now. It's less bad if we have to pay out 760 every single time Lance gets 14th. We'll obviously try and renegotiate this contract as our car gets better, but okay, well he's accepted that. 14th is an annoying bonus threshold because he's likely to get it every single race, but if we're going to get points, Pierre seems the most likely. His buyout is surprising considering he only has 6 months left on his contract as well. But for $3.7 million, we can get Pierre Gasly in now. We've got 23 million in the bank. Pierre is an Aston Martin driver. Welcome, Pierre. Does feel slightly sacrilege to put a Frenchman in a British car. Oh, look at that braking. Look at the braking stat. Oh, Aston Martin dream of 91 braking. Seriously, Seb's is like mid-70s, Stroll's we just put to 70, and Nico Hülkenberg's is 50. Although that braking stat didn't really show in Canada when he crashed into the back of George Russell. Bye, Lance. Bye. He's open to negotiation. Does he want to become our third driver? I mean, that seems stupid. Nah. I'm going to hold off on the reserve drivers simply because it costs too much to break his contract, really. It's 3.6 million now, and we just spent 3.6 to break and get in Pierre. We'll wait to the end of the season for Hülkenberg. Right, Pierre, AlphaTauri are no longer going to be getting points thanks to you, so I'm actually intrigued to know, do they immediately, is it something that gets replaced immediately? Or do the other drivers, does the other team have to work it out still? No, he's still listed, Lawson is still listed as reserve. So it does look like the other teams, does look like AlphaTauri still need to work it out themselves. Okay, I was intrigued to know how that worked. Now we should have a chassis in time for that, so I don't think there's anything we need to do until the aerodynamic testing period starts. Now's the time to design a new suspension. Is this going to see notable improvements? Some more improvements than I was expecting. Now apparently they fixed this, but I want to test it on suspension because I kind of feel like it's a bit of a smaller part. But apparently if you kind of do this, it's broken at the moment. I mean, it still looks a bit broken. It was part of today's patch notes, which is why I wanted to test it, because I didn't know it was a thing until last night. But if you push them all up, I think it's effectively the focus gain on each section overrules the cumulative negative on all the others. Right then, new suspension on intent, 640 grand to learn more about suspensions. Solid, we'll take it. So now a little bit of time has gone by. AlphaTauri have made an appointment and they have simply just taken Lance Stroll. He weirdly suits their uniform, I was about to say. He really does suit their driver suit.
We're here in legendary Silverstone, where the very first Formula One World Championship Grand Prix was held back in 1950.
Not that anyone ever mentions
it's a place where every tuft of grass breathes motorsport, and the crowd are already crackling with excitement. Silverstone demands a lot of power from cars, with numerous twists and historic turns. Downforce is going to be a key factor to manage if teams want to succeed here.
Right then, I'll see you for qualifying. For Pierre's first qualifying. So a confusing practice, all things considered. It's only just updated Pierre's final lap time, it seems, as well. I have no idea how anyone from Alpine all the way down to ourselves are going to fare here, because they kept flipping positions. There were points where Alphas were in the top 10, and then we were beating Bottas at one point. He was way down in 16th, 17th. One thing for certain, Williams are still Williams. This qualifying could literally go anywhere. One thing that remains unchanged, 100% on everything. Gets Pierre's braking up to 94. Oh, so Vettel's grid penalty passes over to this race, so unfortunate. We'll send Gasly out first. We'll send Vettel out directly behind him. So we join Gasly for his first flying lap in a qualifying session in an Aston Martin. Across the line he goes. Through the first section, there is a car joining the track directly ahead of us. That's a Ferrari. What are you doing? You could not be more in the way if you bloody tried. Pierre does not like this. The good news is Sebastian Vettel behind is going to be somewhat less blocked off as Pierre nearly collides with the Haas there. Sorry, that's not a Haas. I was looking at the track wrong. That was an Alfa Romeo. Now, Magnussen, Beckett, I should have learned the corner names again. I do know the names, I just forget which ones are which. And down the second DRS zone, that is a Mercedes getting out of the way relatively easily. Vettel may have caught that same traffic in the same places later on, but Pierre definitely does not like this lap. He's very much been hindered. I suspect Alonso was hindered as well, but he's done a 130. Gasly's done a 131. He's only 1 second off Alonso, but they might all be hindered times. Vettel's lap is atrocious, so yeah, he was definitely hindered later on. But now we're in the way of those people who have just held us up. I'm going to make sure Pierre gets out in this pack of cars, and then as soon as Pierre is out, we make sure Vettel gets out. Because otherwise Vettel will get in out ahead of Pierre. And now Pierre is our best chance of actually getting into Q2. The second we see Pierre's car leave that garage, we can go on board with him actually, to make that easier for us. Come on now, let us out. It's a little tricky getting our cars out the other way around, but in theory the slower cars are now behind us, except for maybe Haas, but they typically come out last because they're at the end of the pit lane. We should be out in time this time. We're not going to make the same mistake we did last. Right, on board with Pierre again once more. Onto the old back straight, main straight, now the back straight. Zhou has crossed the line already and goes 6th. Tsunoda goes behind him. I thought Tsunoda would get held up a little bit more. He was behind Latifi on that flying lap. In fact, he could well have been held up. I don't know. I have no idea what anyone's actual pace is here. The good news is we both did get on laps, and obviously we have improved in both sectors both times, so there's been no hindrances at least for either driver. Norris is now behind Tsunoda as well. Norris only just came back into the pits when everyone started come backing out again, so they must have really changed those tyres quickly. Gasly's across the line in. Oh, 15th, that's not good. Vettel goes 17th. There's 2 Haas to still finish here. Albon goes ahead of Vettel. Oh no. Oh no indeed. Oh, don't tell me that's our pace. Ricciardo's 3/10 off as well.
Welcome to race day. And before we get down to it, last minute checks are being made.
A sunny day here with only a few clouds in the sky. If things stay this way, the weather shouldn't pose any challenges to the teams.
This is sure to be quite the spectacle then. And we've got a front row seat for today's race here at Silverstone.
Vettel's penalty from last race season 20th regardless anyway, so qualifying behind a Williams didn't really make that much of a difference. So, options for today's race. Medium, hard, medium, just medium hard, and medium hard soft. So, flip strategies for the pair. Sebastian Vettel's at the back anyway, so we might also make him go long on the hards and then put him on a media compound towards the end, and then we'll have Pierre run with the pack on medium hard. Medium hard mediums is a slightly odd strategy when medium hards can easily get you through the race. But we'll see how it pans out.
I don't want to tempt fate, but there are quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. There we have Pierre Gasly. Slower than most yesterday, so today they'll be starting from the bottom half of the grid. And for the second driver, it's Sebastian Vettel. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. Everything's been building to this. It's the British Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
So full push on off the start. Sebastian Vettel. It's hard to tell if he's actually getting anywhere right now. He isn't. The Williams are side by side. Pierre at least has held firm in 17th. We'll go on board. Off board, same thing really. He does appear to be on the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, going on to the straight. Although, oh good lord, what's happened there?
You're in a good place.
No damage, thankfully, but that might need looking at.
That's it.
Gasly shows an interesting position to take a line on the Haas in front of him, which is Mick Schumacher's. Stroll, just in case you've forgotten, or if the original announcement didn't make the video, is in the AlphaTauri. They simply just took him up. Vettel has cleared the Williamses, which is the minimum that we needed, and now is approaching the back of Daniel Ricciardo. Do they recolour the helmets? Because Pierre's helmet is green now as well. Pierre, unfortunately, not making too much headway on Mick Schumacher. But Stroll is... Well, he's holding this pack up. He's 1.3 seconds off his teammate Tsunoda somehow. On the straight as we start lap 2, Pierre's on the inside of Mick, but does duck back in. Ricciardo's been dropped as well. I feel like we're not getting points here. Magnussen is in 7th. Once again, forgot to look at the actual order of drivers before we started the race. But Magnussen's in 7th. That's not good news for us. Nor is Norris in 8th. But both AlphaTauri's out of the points right now is good for us. Come on, Pierre. Make a move. You're... Blimey, that ERS is actually out before the middle of the lap. Actually, that's Vettel's ERS. Why is Gasly's ERS not out yet? Vettel's taking Ricciardo.
The Aston Martin.
Janky animations aside. Good move. Our driver's now line astern, effectively.
Back in the garage.
Once DRS activates, Stroll is a sitting duck. He cannot keep up with Tsunoda. We'll just save Gasly a little bit in that front. We'll keep pushing on the tyres just because we might as well try and clear a driver. The first DRS straight is not too far off, actually. We'll go on board as we approach it. But there is a little bit of tyres in hand on each stint, so we're okay to push a little bit. Go on, Mick. Get him. Get him easily. And you have. And now Pierre on the back of the man he replaced. Although Mick is making a hash of this overtake. Eventually forces Lance inwards. And actually compromises Lance's run, I think. Pierre could have a go at him now. He doesn't. But once we get through what I think is Magnus and Beckett's, onto the hangar straight, Stroll's got DRS on Mick instead. Oh dear, this could be a bit of a tit for tat again. But Perez leads from Leclerc, from Verstappen, from Sainz. It's Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari. Hamilton once again detached, although he does have Bottas and Magnussen behind him, surprisingly. Norris is driving by himself. Zhou has the Alpines, Russell and Tsunoda in his train, and Vettel has caught onto the back of ours with Gasly. So, and then it's just Ricciardo and the two Williams, as we've sort of come to expect of late for whatever reason. I will actually tell Seb, don't fight, don't make an attempt. We'll just bring him all back on everything. We'll bring the tyres back on Pierre a little bit.
Copy that.
Gasly looking at the back of Stroll still. Go on, Mick, get out of a second, Mick. What are you doing, Mick? We need to get in the top 15 here, and we're not doing that. Although Stroll didn't clear Mick that time. I wonder if we can harvest a little bit.
We just need to charge up.
As we stay on aggressive just to compensate a little bit. Right, approaching the DRS zone, we'll keep it on neutral again. I'm just doing tactical recharge for the most part. I don't want Vettel to fall out of Gasly's DRS range either, for that matter. Oh my lord! That's Mick Schumacher going sideways. Oh, so now it's just Gasly on Stroll. And we had a front row seat to that almost. No real damage, no real problems for Mick there. He just span off, he'll come back on, no problem really. Alright, we might just be sensible with Stroll here. Just stay in his DRS range. Harvest up a little bit through Magnus and Beckett's. I really hope that's the corner names. Get back to neutral on the actual deployment section. Don't pass him here. Harvest again. We kind of need to get past Stroll and maybe catch the Tsunoda train. Right. Harvest a little bit. Make sure we don't drop out a second before the next DRS. Seems to be okay for the time being. Actually, we might be okay just to stick on Harvest. Gasly's deployed a little bit there still. Just making sure we're not dropped by Stroll. That Russell's actually just been overtaken by Tsunoda ahead, surprisingly. Is Russell okay? You can see we've got a little bit in hand on both ERSs right now. We might be able to try and make an overtake on Stroll and the next DRS line. Let's make sure we don't drop Vettel in the process either.
Use energy.
Easy! Right, push now. Drop Stroll out of your DRS.
Good job.
Goodbye, Lance. Goodbye. Go on, Pierre. Drop him. You're not dropping him. That's unfortunate. Can't continue to push like that, annoyingly.
Copy.
I'm going to try and make Stroll's life a little bit annoying with Vettel here. See if we can get Stroll behind Vettel. And we have made Stroll's life a little annoying with Vettel. Got him on the inside of him. That should allow Pierre to run away a little bit. Oh, no. Still stay on deploy. All right, now defend. We'll watch that one again.
Look again.
On the inside. Pushes Stroll out the way.
Goodness
Not
me.
great, but
There they go, moving ahead of the
slightly
other
janky animations again, but we've got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I was off camera again for a while there. I will get better at that, I promise. Oh, Stroll's actually a second behind Vettel now. Stroll was outside the second before that DRS line. How are we doing on tyres? We're probably slightly below schedule, but
Copy.
we'll see if we continue to drop Stroll even on medium. Because if we do, that's good news. There might be a period where we can push again later on, but for now, irritatingly, Stroll got through at some point. Actually, what strategy is he? He's on hards, which makes things even more annoying. I actually don't know what the hard strategy was. I think the hard strategy was a two-stopper, though. There's been an incident in Sector 2, which might be anywhere because they can't track sectors for whatever reason. It's just Tsunoda having a spin.
Here's the replay.
He was in the back of
Focus
that
on
train and still was at that point. Just
What a
spins
spin
off.
out.
No real drama, and he's come back sort of comfortably ahead of Stroll anyway. Oh, we've harvested a little bit of ERS whilst we've been behind Stroll here. We might be a little bit more tactical because now Tsunoda's a little bit closer. I say a little bit more tactical. Pierre's just gone for it straight away. Now Tsunoda's out of DRS
Okay, good job.
of anyone else, we can maybe push onto the back of Tsunoda. And we'll once again, make Stroll's life complicated with Vettel behind. Hopefully. We're deploying with Pierre here. We should hold Stroll off, hopefully. Come on, Vettel. Make Lance think twice. Our tyres are going to be problematic by the end of this stint, though, which is a concern. I didn't really think Seb had tried an overtake there, but okay. Oh, he's tried one there, though. What an interesting place to try and get Lance. Oh, well, that's an unfortunate yield, but has it held Stroll back? It has. Still got DRS, though. Right, come on. Come on, Seb. I mean, you've not... you're going to have to try and make this move without ERS now, Seb, which is a problem. Stroll got back within a second. I don't know how I'm on full push with Pierre, and he's still catching him through this section. The AlphaTauri clearly does good through that sector. Pierre is gaining on Yuki, though. I can't push with Pierre anymore. Seb's got a little bit of wiggle room on his tyres. Come on, Seb. Make this awkward. He's not pressing Lance, although we'll get on alongside Lance here. Who's in the yield spot? Seb's in the yield spot here, isn't he? That's annoying. Although, good work, team. Stroll's going to have an easy time getting back through again here. First pitters are in on lap 18. They must be the medium-hard medium runners. So Norris, Mick Schumacher and Latifi are all doing medium-hard medium. That's an extra pit stop for them. But Norris probably has the outright pace to make that work in the long term. So pits have happened. That must be the regular medium-hard runners, which annoyingly is Stroll. But we're coming in later than him. Gasly's pit window is active, so attack, doesn't have VRS. He might end up dropping Vettel in the process here, but Pierre Gasly is ready to attack, provide an overcut, hopefully, and then have fresher hards for the remainder of the race. It's on the fringe of points right now, but he does have to pit, and a couple of people are only on 1 stops behind him as well. Some people are on 2 stops though. I don't know what the hard starter strategy is. Oh no! The hard strategy is hard to medium then. Stroll wasn't a medium to hard runner. The medium to hard runners are still going. So Alonso and... no. Who's the other one? I feel like Alonso pitted with Stroll and he's now on hard tyres, so I don't know what they're doing. I'm really confused what everyone's doing right now. The good news is Pierre, whilst pushing, is actually pulling Seb along a little bit, which will only help Seb's race in the long term as well. Someone spun. Clearly not enough to cause a safety car or anything like that, but someone has had an incident. It's one of the McLarens.
Yellow flag 15. Yellow.
It's Ricardo. That's not relevant to our race, really. We dropped him anyway. We will pit Pierre Gasly on the lap his tyres would hit 35%. Although, next lap might be it anyway. So Pierre will come in next lap.
We're going to box.
I wish we had any ERS. The medium to hard runners now pitting. We're going 1 lap longer because we can. They really didn't make the most of those tyres. They pitted on those when they still had like 50% wear. We are burning every second we can get out of these tyres before we pit. Vettel's got fuel to burn. In fact, there's no point fighting Bottas here. We might as well charge up with Vettel in this opportunity, because Pierre's going to pit anyway, so he's going to lose DRS regardless. I wish Pierre had any ERS at all. Yeah, we kind of allowed that one to happen though. We'll pay attention to Pierre Gasly in the pit lane. I do feel like he hasn't got an overcut on important people here. I feel like he's actually going to come back out miles behind Stroll. I should have checked what the actual pit window was. Although they're only just starting on the... oh, it's so slow down this part. I forgot how slow the limiter is in Silverstone. And there goes Yuki, and Stroll will be on the left now. Well, the good news is we have much fresher tyres than him. And I think Stroll's pitting again. I don't know why he is, but we might be gifted a position here. And of course, there's all the medium-hard medium runners as well. If he stays well within range of the medium-hard medium runners, which is Norris for one, I know that much. That's a position gain. And Vettel's still going in 7th right now. He's got Hamilton for company. Still harvesting at this point. Hamilton will get him on this straight, so I might as well just flick his deploy button over. I feel like he's not harvesting very well. That's fine. We're playing the long game with Vettel here. I don't know who out of the top lot need to pit again. Russell's running a completely different race to everyone else. He's doing medium to hard, but he's doing it sensibly. I'm expecting Russell to pit this lap. It'd be a miracle if Vettel stays within 1 second of Hamilton through this sector. It'd be great if he does, but it'd be a miracle if he does. Miles will harvest sunshine. There goes Russell. A minor incident for someone. It's Bottas who's had a moment. He's stayed on track though. Ooh, okay. I had to be paying attention to Vettel. He's still got a little bit on his tyres. We can push him a little longer. We'll actually push Vettel for 1 or 2 more laps, and then he's going to have medium tyres. He can push that a little bit harder towards the rest of the race. He's got Russell and Magnussen in a train behind him, so after harvesting and pushing the rest of Gasly's stuff, he's 4.5 seconds behind Stroll, with Stroll having to pit again at some point. Okay then, so we will pit Vettel now. We will deploy on this lap as well, and then we'll deploy on his out lap, because he's in a second of these cars ahead, so we might as well make the most of it. In fact, we probably won't even need to deploy. We're in a good position here. We'll just use the tow rather than actually deploy and waste some battery. We'll just stick on neutral for now. This will put him down, probably down by Gasly actually, which would make sense because that's who he was with when Gasly pitted. But Seb's pitted. Gasly is starting on the main straight now. Don't tell me Seb's actually got past Gasly here. He hasn't. Okay, it's not too bad though. Could probably actually get back in range by the end of this stint. We'll deploy to do so.
Use energy. You can use energy.
Gasly's 7 seconds off Stroll. What's happened there? Yuki's towing Stroll along. This hasn't worked out in our favour, but there are people to pit again. I just don't know who. But we'll deploy to get in range of Gasly at least, and they'll just use each other to tow each other along. Don't want them to fight each other though. Latifi's hanging on the back of Mick Schumacher behind. They're still on the lead lap, the Williams. They've more upgrades. Okay, just regular pushing should get Vettel in range of Gasly now. You know, we are really slow at the moment. We do need a major upgrade. But these tyres are going to be comfortable by the end of this. Yeah, they might be getting a little warm, but should be alright. Pierre's got a little bit of
no saving required.
Pace in hand. Tyres aren't going to last though. Probably don't even need to push anymore. I don't know what to do here because Vettel's got a chance of actually catching people and he's got the tyres to do it. I should have done hard medium with everyone. Use him as a tow, Gasly. Use him as a tow. Seb, just back off a second. Just make sure Gasly gets your tow and then you can push a bit. Be sensible here. Be sensible. Got 19 laps to go. The front 4 is still separated by a DRS train. And that's it. Bottas has got Hamilton. And that's it for his company. Russell's with Magnussen. The Ocons, the Alpines are together. Zhou and Norris are together. The Alphas are together. The AlphaTauris are together. And we're together. We're in like DRS pairs. We're going 2 by 2 apart from the front 4. In fact, in fairness, Vettel's got fuel in hand as well. So let's
stop lift and coast.
Push a little bit. Maybe together we can push on to Stroll here. I think they have to pit again. I think Stroll has to pit again. I think Norris has to pit again. No idea who else needs to pit again. Okay, Gasly's even keeping up on 4, so we'll make it 5. I am marginally concerned you are fighting a little hard there. Or thinking a little hard, I should say. Counted as a failed overtake. On full push, we are not closing in on Stroll and Tsunoda, who are fighting each other in a DRS train of 2. That DRS should not be helping them overall on our pace right now. Like, it should be our pace against their pace as a unit. Because we've got the same situation with each other here. We should be, at the very least, be able to close in on the pair of them. Because Vettel's got the pace in hand. And then Gasly's just being towed along by that extra little bit that Vettel's got. There's been a huge crash somewhere. The AlphaTauris have crashed into each other. Of course it is. But I think Lance is the lead driver here.
Oh no!
They've got... Hang on. Someone check those safety barriers. Tsunoda's hit Stroll, but Tsunoda's pitted. Stroll's continued, but now has no DRS on anyone and might have some form of damage. Stroll is now by himself. Vettel has got spare tyres. Vettel has got spare fuel. And Stroll needs to pit once more. And we're now only 2.8 seconds behind. We're coming for you, Lance. We're coming. Considering Vettel started at the back, this is actually quite good going from him. And also, this probably means 0 points for AlphaTauri this weekend. There's no way we get top 10 because there's no mechanical retirement, so none of that top 10 are going to retire. So unless any of that top 10 crash, we're not getting it there. Somehow we're still at 2.7. We're still somehow we're still 2.8 seconds behind a 4 lap later. I mean, do you have any ERS left, Vettel? How are we not gaining on Lance at this point of the race? We've got better tyres. Tsunoda's gone on softs, they might last. We've lost time on Lance over the course of this lap whilst pushing. Oh, Christ on a bike. We're going to deploy here to try and get in Stroll's DRS. It may not work. People are pitting again. Yeah, medium, hard, medium are pitting now when the hards are still on 64%. So Stroll might pit here anyway, actually. So don't bother. There's not really much point. But we can protect Gasly's tyres in this process and use Vettel's a little bit. We probably can't have Vettel on 5 push the entire time for the remainder of this race. He probably has to drop down to medium at some point. We've taken half a second out of Stroll with a little bit of push there. But I'm intrigued to see if Stroll pits, because he's going to come back out with 100% mediums and Vettel's still only on 80%. So Norris is pitted. I don't even know what strategy that is. Was Norris medium, hard, medium? He might have been. Oh no, Stroll was the weird pit stop. Stroll was the weird strategy, which started with hards and went to mediums, but wasn't hard, medium, and that's it. Because I had to make hard, medium, and that's it. Yeah, we're losing time on Stroll. I don't really know why. We're just going to have to leave it, aren't we? Actually, we continue on the fuel. We might as well. But that does put Norris behind, as we hoped. Mick's obviously now way back again.
Could be.
I do feel like Gasly might be faster now. I'm not gonna do team orders now because it does tend to lose you a bit of time. But if Gasly gets this past legitimately, I'll tell Vettel not to fire him, which he did immediately. So that was the best way of doing that because there was no team orders there. We lost a tenth on Stroll in that maneuver rather than half a second. Still not really keeping pace. Oh, the McLaren, Stroll's in the pits. I mean, we're miles past Stroll now. So we're 12th and 13th. Norris 4 point something seconds behind and not really closing. I don't know who needs to pit now. I think medium, hard, mediums are done. So the hard strategy was hard, medium, soft. I swear there was someone else who came in with him. Might have been Alonso. Oh, if we just get a retirement from the top 10 and Alonso pits, Alonso might come out ahead of us anyway, actually. Norris has got within 4 seconds, although it's still 4 seconds. There appears to be a section where Norris does close in a little bit because that is coming down slowly every lap. It's Maggots and Beckett's is the section that they close in on a little bit. It's coming down like a couple of tenths every single lap, and there's only 11 laps left, so if we deploy at some point just to prevent DRS, we might be alright. And even then, we're only in danger of Norris. This might be a particularly unthrilling end, I do apologise, provided nothing crazy happens elsewhere. But we can't push for top 10 because we're 12 seconds behind and there's nothing we can do there. We need someone to have an instant. Looking at you, Alpines, who are going 2 by 2 here. All the front 4. Looking at those 2 groups. In fact, that front group is actually getting into lapping positions now. So, come on, top 10. Have a moment, please. Preferably with 2 of you. Yeah, so Vettel's tyres are coming in line with Gasly's now. Just keeping an eye on that gap. Oh god, the gap to Norris is 1.4 all of a sudden. We're on deploy and he's still caught up. What's the bloody point? What is the bloody point? This car is so bad now. It was momentarily good around Miami, Spain, and that was about it. Apparently 16 kilograms remaining is still going to be +1 lap. So we've still got plenty of fuel in hand. Vettel saved so much just being behind Gasly the entire remainder. Vettel being on don't attack could actually get in the way of Norris to a degree here. Stroll's a good 11 seconds behind with 6 laps to go. We might be right there. It's a good finish, all things considered. 12th and 13th, or 13th, 14th even. Pierre will get his payout. Actually, that's a good point. Is there any chance we can get Gasly into 15th and we don't pay him? We need 3 drivers to disappear out of that top 10 to get a point, because Norris will get us by the end, I think. But there's no points for McLaren, and there's no points for AlphaTauri. There's a few points for Haas. Only one point for Alfa Romeo, but I'd rather the Alfa Romeo's got 6 points and the Haas got the 1, but oh well. Yeah, so Norris is going to be on decent medium tyres. We're just going to trundle around for the remaining 6 laps, and Norris will inevitably get us. So there's 2.5 laps of this race remaining. The leaders have started lap 51, so we just not to get caught up by that again like we did in Monaco. We've got 2.5 laps remaining. There's enough tyre life to do 2.5 laps on all-out attack. So we might as well try and get Norris back here. We've got a little bit in hand if we want to do a bit of deploy on Gasly to try and provide a bit of gap and try and get Vettel back with, try and get Norris back with Vettel, because Vettel's harvesting currently briefly. Thank you for the confirmation. I did do my maths correctly. So if Verstappen starts the final lap in the lead from Leclerc Perez, Sainz has been dropped a little bit. But really, it's kind of possibly advantage Leclerc or Perez here because there's 2 DRS zones on the final lap and Verstappen's the leader. But we haven't started lap 52 yet. They're behind us. Stroll is got within 7 seconds, but he's actually very close to being lapped by that group. Ah, well, that's unfortunate. We won't push Gasly on this lap. This isn't lap 52 for us. This isn't lap 52 for us. We've still got to get around the remainder of this lap. I wonder if Stroll will just accept being lapped at the very end of this lap. Because the leaders are there. I don't know where to try and push with Pierre here, because they could always get him back on the final straight. Stroll did just manage to cross the line in time. But Verstappen did hold on. Having Perez, I think, in that group helped him. 13-14 isn't awful, though. We'll take that as a result. We'll try and get him on the last DRS, I think. Because then obviously there's no way he can fight back. Deploy. Deploy.
Energy if you need it.
Right then, Pierre. Final stretch. Let's get this.
Okay, copy.
Vettel, if you could get him too, that'd be lovely. But mostly looking at you, Pierre. On your hard tyres. They're going to have held up slightly better. They're going to have slightly better performance here. Full everything, Pierre. Switches to the inside. Brake. No, you haven't broken in the right place. You needed to brake about 50 metres later there, Pierre. Should have tried it on the first straight, the first DRS zone. They seem more capable of catching them there. That's a shame. No through goes Pierre, unfortunately.
Starts checking flags.
Yeah, we lost some big points. I'm so upset.
We'll come back stronger next weekend. Take the pickup.
We lost jack shit there, Pierre, unfortunately. This was as good as we got.
And here's Pierre Gasly. A promising result from him today.
That's the team.
Next time, the teams will be forging ahead at full throttle through the Styrian forest. The Austrian Grand Prix is right around the corner.
It is indeed right around the corner. These races happen back to back, if I'm not mistaken. 4 places gained for PS, 6 for Vettel, and that's our lot, unfortunately. Valtteri Bottas nicked the final point for Alfa Romeo in the end, and Kevin Magnussen did indeed get 8 points because he got Russell by the end of that race as well. It's the last thing we needed for Haas to get more points. Takes them 7th in the overall, but having nicked Pierre Gasly, I think AlphaTauri are our targets along with McLaren. These are the ones we're likely going to be able to catch if we get anything that resembles performance out of this car by the end of the season. That's some lovely points for Pierre, and not that bad for Seb either. Yeah, that's going to get annoying over the course of the season. But we did get some incentives. A great race, meeting our expectations. Good, because the report isn't far off. They were happy with that one. It's annoying that they're disappointed by Montreal because, well, it was our drivers who crashed. It's nothing to do with me as a principal. But I suppose the buck stops with me, does it not? Maybe more money in the bank. I'm just thinking, Design Center is a facility that doesn't have a condition on it. So there's no kind of waiting for its condition to go down and then building it and then therefore bypassing the refurbishment of it. So it's kind of one of those ones that you just build and be done with it because it provides 3 project capacities, which will allow us to work on 2 things at the same time and maybe research for the next. But the problem is it doesn't give any more engineers. Well, I suspect the next one may not provide a new project capacity, but will provide more engineers. We've got 22 million in the bank. This will leave us with 10. I'm holding off. Right then, so indeed, Austria at the end of the week. The rest of the manufacturing stuff comes through by then as well, which is good news. There's a new regulation vote happening after that race as well, which will be part of that video because that's when they pop in, is on the final day, post-race. So we'll deal with that too. Otherwise, there's not a lot to really deal with during the Austrian weekend. All eyes will then be on Pierre's home race in France in 2 races' time. So then, fairly promising from Pierre. It certainly kept Vettel on his toes, which Stroll was massively incapable of doing. I remember Baku, where Stroll annoyingly took the lead in that race off the start, and then, well, ended about 20 seconds behind Vettel once Vettel did get ahead finally. So, yeah, it looks like Stroll and Tsunoda are of similar pace levels in that AlphaTauri, just the AlphaTauri as a package is that little bit better. But by taking Pierre out of them, we've turned that better package AlphaTauri and sabotaged it to a point where it's going to struggle to get points as well. So fingers crossed that continues to be the case. But for now, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed Pierre, do give this video a like in the same way that he would. Comments and subscriptions are always helpful as well. Until next time, ta-ra.